Hello, welcome to part 3 of my Legacy Mallets. For those of you who haven't seen parts 1 and 2, Legacy Mallets, the term refers to those mallets that I no longer use on a daily basis due to the various changing circumstances of my employment. Going from a 100-piece symphony orchestra like the Oslo Philharmonic to smaller organizations like the Des Moines Metro Opera Orchestra of about 45 players and the Illinois Philharmonic to about 75 or 80. Also the size of the halls and the acoustics also determine that. And while I call these legacy mallets, this does not in any way diminish the fact that they are good mallets, and I do use them from time to time, although kind of on a seldom, depending on circumstances. But let me show you some of these mallets. All of these are of bamboo shafts, and all of them were made by a good friend of mine who is the timpanist of the Copenhagen Philharmonic Orchestra, otherwise known as the Tivoli Orchestra in the summers, Harry Tien. Now, Harry was one of my first students when I was a lecturer at Dartmouth College in 1977-78, and has since gone on to study at Manhattan School of Music, where he was a pupil of Dan Hinger, and then went on to become the timpanist of first the Trondheim Symphony Orchestra in Norway, and since 1995 he's been down in Copenhagen. Now, Harry is a very talented guy, and he's good with his hands, and he's innovative. I had some problems with the acoustics in the Oslo Concert House. I used Hinger mallets and Feldman mallets, and they were doing okay, but the trouble is the stage had no proscenium, and the sound, instead of going out, went up. And the fact that there was a large chorus space in the back, the size of a gymnasium, meant that we were playing, in a sense, between two rooms. It was a beautiful hall. It still is, but form did not follow function in that case. So I needed something on the heavy side, and Harry built me several pairs of mallets with shafts 5/8 inch in diameter and lengths between 15.5 and 17 inches long. I'll start with what I call the shillelaghs. Now, these sticks are about 16 inches long, and I'd say almost 6/8 inch in diameter. They're big. They really would tend to overpower, but they came in handy on many occasions, like playing very soft rolls on low notes. Now, I could bang with them, not bang, forgive me, that's not the correct word. I could really play loud and let loose with it, but it would tend to be dominating. Very specialist sticks, but you know what? What they really came into their own on very soft stuff, very soft rolls, like the end of the Verdi Requiem in the end of the Liber Ame, the final movement of the Verdi Requiem, where the timpani is rolling very softly on a seat underneath the soprano and chorus. On calfskin and on double stops, or on a single low note like long second, like on single and low notes. There's this part where the English horn plays over it. Nice point to it, but I would not use them for long rolls or something like that, because they would tend to get to the other side of the street, become kind of street obstreperous. But they're good mallets. Now, this other pair, 5/8 inch in diameter, bamboo, with surgical tubing grips, And the color coding very much similar to what Danny Hinger used to use. These sticks came in very handy for general purpose work. This is a sort of a general. I could use them on Also Sprach Zarathustra, for example. A little on the heavy side, but on a big haul like the Oslo Philharmonic without any backing, it did add some bass to it, some bottom. Very good sticks for that sort of a thing. Also, for Mahler 3rd, Mahler 7th Symphony, the Scherzo has enough weight, but maybe a little too much, but still a very good sound. And of Shostakovich 5, you know what I'm talking about, it's got good weight. Now this is sort of along the same lines, but without the gripping. A little more point. Maybe I would do the Scherzo. Nice, sharp attack, punchy sound, good sound, and the weight for it. Bruckner 3rd, for example. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the rem there. That was a little. I gotta pay 50 cents for that. I used to tell my students, if you hit the rim, you owe me 50 cents. Anyway. Good weighty sticks. This is a little bit lighter bamboo. Could probably use these for Sibelius second at the end. Long rolls at the end. It has enough weight, yet it's light enough and won't tire you. These, again, the surgical tubing grips are excellent for the purpose. They really help. Now these two pairs of mallets are same size shift, but as far as the diameter, but they're shorter. Good for that scherzo too. Very end. Boom. I don't know, but tonight I'm a little obsessed by the Mahler 7th. Don't ask me why, it's just one of my favorite pieces. But anyway, also very good for Dvorak, Scherzo. That interjections, nice articulation and good weight. And here is the smallest of the pair, even shorter. Cats off Sebaeus 1 would work. Bum, 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 bum. Although I did that a little differently. I tend to put the B flat in. Bum, 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 bum. Good articulation. So these sticks do have their use. And for legacy sticks, for the right hole, right size orchestra, I'd be still using today. Again, smaller holes, small orchestra, I have to adapt. That's the way things are in this life. Life is all about change, and it's all about how you change. Now there's a couple of things that I forgot to add to one of my previous videos. If you'll excuse me for a second while I bring them around. In part 2 I talked about the Andy Feldman sticks. I neglected to mention his wood mallets. For things like the planets. These, what he did, we were not too happy with the regular ball wooden mallets. They were denting too many heads. So what he did, Andy Feldman did, was he put these egg-shaped on the end of a 5/8 inch shaft, diameter shaft. I started that out a little too loud, but you get the idea. And a very good sound it is. Also in the Mahler second. Good articulation, good weight. There's something bite, but yet will not damage the heads. Now in those days, the Remo heads, the Renaissance heads had not yet been invented. And the type of heads were basically mylar, and they would tend to dent very easily. So these were designed to avoid that. So, along with the rest of my legacy sticks, I have a good collection, and my regular day-to-day mallets, which I'll discuss in later videos. I have a lot of tools at my disposal. I can paint lots of tones, and I consider myself very fortunate. Well, thanks for coming into my shop for tonight. And I look forward to discussing more in the next edition of my legacy sticks and my little corner of the world. Andrew Senko signing off.